This is a dream come true, but I'm pretty nervous about it.
Okay, first Harvard flight. Kind of a big deal for you. It's a challenging day. We got crosswind from the right. If you do land on the wheels without the tail wheel, you'll notice there's a lot of rudder action to make a little bit of directional change. You look like you're freezing. You're like...
I'm a combination of freezing and just nervous. That's all of it.
Yeah, okay. Just, it's not as scary. You've really built this thing up. Yeah. You've made this thing seem like it's an insurmountable, it's not a bad airplane to fly.
However, comparing Dave's heart rate to my landings seems to say otherwise.
Too soon, eh? Has the power to fix that bounce?
No, we're going around. I haven't. And you were going to do that all the way down the runway.
All right, let's go do it.
All right.
Oh, man. Good luck.
Literally shaking with nerves.
Well, who's shaking?
He's literally shaking.
Yeah. I'm nervous about this airplane.
Bags are going on both. All clear? We covered startup in the previous episode.
You got your feet on the brakes?
Yep. But it was worth recapping this awesome sound. Contact!
How's that feel?
Pretty awesome.
As a proud member of the Canadian Historical Aircraft Association, I'm working to train to fly the entire fleet. I'm already signed off to fly the Chipmunk. I'll be working on the Stearman next, and this is my checkout in the Harvard. Part 1 covered airwork, and this episode will address approach and landing.
Get as much county flying in as you feel comfortable with. We'll come back to the airport and we'll do as many circuits as you think you have in you before you're going to call it.
Hey, with the towers, Victor India Juliet over Essex 1600 inbound for the circuit.
Victor India Juliet Tower, runway 07, wind 050 at 9, altimeter 3029er, cleared right base runway 07.
Okay, to be the right base of 07, Victor India Juliet.
You're going to use 20 inches of manifold pressure and 1750 in the circuit. That'll give you roughly 100 knots. Think of it as a twin that doesn't go very fast, because that's the same amount of complexity more or less, but it's really not happening quickly.
Okay, so I want to be a little closer, wing on the runway.
Yeah.
Okay, gears coming down. A little too close.
A little too high as well.
Yeah. 2 pins, fingers, and lights.
So I'm not going to review all this stuff because we did cover it in part 1, and this is a rare case where what I'm doing is real time. My friend JP is in town right now, and as the newest member of the Canadian Historical Aircraft Association, he's working on his Chipmunk checkout. He'll be vlogging his journey through this process, and I'm helping him film it. And he's helping me get some awesome B-roll while I finish preparing to solo the Harvard.
All right, prop clear.
Since we're doing all the production work ourselves, I'm going to donate 100% of the revenue from these episodes to the CH2A. Anyway, let's get back on board the Harvard.
It all happens pretty fast, eh?
It does. It gets more, you know, right now you're stressing about it, but it becomes easier.
Here comes 20 flaps. 15 inches. Okay, so gas, undercarriage, mixture, prop. Speed. Give it 90.
So we'll use the numbers I gave you for approach. So you can be 90 knots on the approach. Short final, I want you closer to 85 or 80.
Victor India Juliet Tower, wind 060 at 8, cleared stop and go runway 07.
Clear stop and go 07, Victor India Juliet.
The first couple landings, we're going to go stop and goes. Yeah. We'll go tail low wheelers or 3 points. I want you to try for the 3-point attitude. If it's a tail low wheeler, that's fine.
We're just landed and we're letting it roll out to a stop.
Okay, so I'm going to get a bit more flaps in.
Yeah, 35's good.
Watch the speed, there we go. Okay, lock in the D10, 35 flaps. Low. How we like the approach? A little too much power, I'm dragging it, eh?
A little, but that's okay. Carry it down like that.
1,600, Delta Mike Echo Tower, runway 07, wind 050 at 8, altimeter 3028, cleared right downwind.
So keep it on and then pull it just right about now.
Now's a good time to start rounding.
Right downwind, 07,
just feel it down, you're going to hit. There you go.
Power,
yep, no, you're okay, Just hang on to it, just continue. Power idle.
Thought I had it idle.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Now just do what you got to do.
So when you're in the flare, you touch down, the wheel's not down yet. The rudder is pretty ineffective at low airspeed. Once the tail's down, it's connected, it's really effective. So there's a transition there to where, wow, I needed to do a lot of things. And now that's an easy way to get into that oscillation, right? Because now you don't need to do a lot to hold the airplane there.
07.
Hey, well, I didn't have to take it from you.
As we're 3-point and decelerating for the stop and go, we won't touch any controls until we're stopped.
Okay, gonna stop. Yep. We're good to take off again from here?
Yes.
Okay, flaps are coming up.
Stop and go, we'll stop. You'll verbalize, flaps are coming up, and you'll put the flaps up.
You're gonna be leaning on the gear.
I will have my hand on the gear handle. There's no safety in this airplane. If you pull the gear up on the ground, it's gonna come up. The hydraulics are capable of lifting that gear while we're sitting on it, so we don't want to do that.
Hey, Windsor Tower, Victor India Juliet is on the left downwind runway 07 for a stop go.
Victor India Juliet Tower, wind 040 at 10, cleared stop and go runway 07.
Clear stop and go 07, Victor India Juliet.
Did you say you built it up way too much in your head after that landing?
72.
Yes.
They're currently over
Let's see another one.
401 inbound
Yeah,
for
right.
downwind.
You're gonna probably be surprised, because I think you have enough experience with heavy tail draggers, and your feet you've never been the kind of pilot that gets directionally unstable that I've seen, so you're gonna do your first landing and be like, really? Like, this is...
It's literally been 20 years of worrying about this thing for me, so that's the problem. So yeah.
Well, yeah, but if you let yourself, if you get in your own head, you're gonna make a mistake.
Okay, so we're at the end of the runway. I'm going to bring the power back to 15 inches. Now I'm going to go prop full fine. Alright, gears down and locked. I have pins on both sides. I got
Green
fingers
lights
and
back
lights. 20 flaps set. And locked.
And you're going to find that when you turn final here, it's going to be about right.
Okay, it feels a little close, but...
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Okay, cool. This feels high and close, but okay. I did drag it last time a little.
Delta Mike Echo Tower, your number 2.
Put your final flaps in now.
A Harvard, they're just on the left base, and your altitude restriction is canceled.
30 flaps.
Yeah, now you can pull your power back. Manage it with power.
Delta Mike Victor Tower, you'll see traffic off your left wing for about 1.5 miles. They're in the right
That feels steep
orbit
now.
there.
Yeah, it gets a little steep, but that's okay.
no
Just
factor.
watch this picture change quickly.
Traffic's inside. Golf Mike Victor.
See what I
And
mean?
Golf Mike Victor
Yep.
Tower in the zone.
Yeah, now I need to have power to arrest that descent. 1,500 in the zone, Golf Mike Victor.
Be patient with the airplane. If you touch down, don't over-check forward. Over-checking on this airplane will really pitch the nose forward, and it will really get directionally unstable. So you just want to touch down and just kind of release the back pressure, because what you're going to notice in the flare, especially going for a 3-pointer, even if you're trimmed for 80, which is actually a lot of trim on the wheel, you're going to feel that in the flare, the airplane is like, wow, I'm really holding a lot of weight here. And then when you touch down, just kind of release the weight, and that's actually a significant amount of forward stick to do that.
I didn't fully absorb that advice until about my 10th landing.
Alright, that's nice and stable. I like it. 90.
Excellent.
It just hadn't sunk in yet. I was afraid to pull the power completely off, and therefore I couldn't get it into a 3-point attitude.
Try to get the tail a little lower on this one.
Okay.
So stay tuned to the end, and we've got a wing cam that was on a later flight that shows one of my best landings, where unlike this one, I was able to dissipate the energy and get the airplane to settle.
Idle.
Bound Katana climbing through
Hold it.
1,700.
Oh, too soon, eh? I have the power to fix that bounce.
No, we're going around.
We're going around.
I have it. You were gonna do that all the way down the runway.
You can't fix it, eh?
Nope.
Okay, so gears coming up. Positive, you're up.
Yeah, I did not want to let that go on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, flaps are coming up.
I've got the flaps already. I took
Okay.
the airplane.
Oh, you took it all, okay.
Yeah. You have it now.
Tower, wind
I got it. You're at 32 inches, about to come back 28.
You were definitely thinking that you were higher than you were. What that would have literally been is about 7 or 8
Delta
bounces.
Mike Echo Tower, walk 1211, please.
So you cannot fix it by adding power, eh?
You might be able to. I've never been able to do that without just...
And what's the point? Why fight it? Just go around and make it better. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson.
Part of the problem, you bounced, but then you ballooned. If you had just kind of held it, but once you got the balloon in there, it's...
Yeah, that's fine.
So the root of my problem landing this thing, ironically, was not directional control, but rather just having the confidence to pull the power off while rounding out and believe the airplane will still fly while getting it into the 3-point attitude. I've just heard so many bad things about Mustangs and WarBirds dropping out of the sky, but this is still an airplane, and that's a really great lesson that I learned, which I did manage to apply later.
Did you agree that I'm low?
Continue
You're a little low.
Foxtrot, hold short runway 07.
This is manageable. Should have put the flaps in.
I'm not gonna go full. I'm not gonna 30 yet.
Juliet Tower,
Yeah, I know.
350 at 5, cleared
Put 'em in
stop
now.
runway
Yep, here comes the flaps.
That's good. And then now just use your power to manage your profile, and you're okay.
Yep.
This is totally fine. This time, get the damn thing to idle.
Yep. I think we're pulling off too quickly.
It does sink a little, but it isn't going to drop out from
taxi
underneath.
cross runway 30 and Gulf, just
Here's
monitor
downlock.
ground 121.
Be
Clear you to land.
Am I clear to land from here, Juliet?
Victor India Juliet, you're cleared, stop and go, runway 07.
Chris, I'll go.
Power off. Now just hold this right here. Just let it come down soft.
Taxi cross
you're gonna
runway
grease it on.
30 and
Oh,
Gulf,
yeah.
just monitor ground 121.7.
That's awesome.
Yes. Now land the tail nice. Oh, Steven.
So that was a good one, but it still wasn't the 3-pointer we were looking for.
That's how you do it right there.
Did we call it a day on that one? Or you want to do one more?
We ended up going for one more, which wasn't terrible, but it wasn't awesome. Unlike my last flight, where JP helped rig this wing cam, which captured a perfect 3-pointer, where everything worked out just right. Throttle was pulled back, got the 3-point attitude just right, and dropped her on nice and smooth. Thanks so much to sponsors and Patreon supporters for helping create this content. And again, there's so many episodes in the back catalog. Please visit flightshops.com to check that out, join our mailing list, and see what giveaways we have going on. Meantime, keep your flight shop sharp.
Garmin says stress level 78, high stress.
Yeah, no kidding, buddy. But anyways, thanks, man. That was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I didn't really have to do very much. Just a lot of coaching. Just coaching.